Well, the rain certainly stepped up and the Conservative Party know they're in Manchester without a doubt. As promised, we're now joined by Jim Hancock, political expert and Manchester Evening News columnist. Jim, as ever, thank you for joining us. Today, obviously, the highlight's been George Osborne's speech. What's really jumped out at you from the conference floor today?
Well, that was, you could argue, almost the most significant speech of the week. I mean, obviously, Cameron's just will edge it. But this was, constantly, politicians have been chided, Conservatives in particular, to say where would they make the cuts, what difficult decisions would they make. Well, there were some difficult decisions today, putting men's retirement age up to 66 and dealing with the women issue as well. Overnight, there was a bit of a wobble on that. Also, as you've mentioned, public sector pay freeze. Also cutting the number of MPs, to try and give the public a sense that, Westminster's taking the hit as well after all the sort of sleaze scandals. That will have an implication for Greater Manchester. Presumably there'll be one or two less MPs, bigger constituencies and so on. Not everyone thinks that's a good idea, but a big meaty speech. And as you said earlier, a fairly grave one from George Osborne, not a lot of jokes.
And he is a key member of that shadow cabinet team, isn't he?
Oh, it's Cameron, Osborne. They've been together almost since the beginning. I mean, George Osborne, obviously a local MP here. We've known him here for years, but the nation's starting to get to know him now. The Tories, of course, the Labour Party, of course, brand them both as Tory toffs. And George Osborne had a line in his speech today saying the personal attacks will get more vicious. I think he's sort of conscious that that's going to happen to him over the period of time. But, a meaty speech. We have got some content on where the Tories are going to make cuts now. Of course, not everyone's going to agree with them. There are going to be a lot of things. I've been talking to one or two Conservative candidates in Greater Manchester who are a bit worried about selling some of these policies on the doorstep.
And while we've been on air, Ken Clarke, a very big character from the Conservative Party, has been speaking in there. What did he say that you think we need to take note of?
Well, he's, of course, the business spokesman. I mean, the key thing about Ken, of course, is that why is he there at all? Because he doesn't agree with David Cameron on Europe. And I always watch for the sort of reception he'll get. He made a good speech. He said Britain needs to be open for business. We're going to cut red tape. I have to say, if I had a hot dinner for every time I've heard politicians talk about getting rid of red tape, I'd be even fatter than I am. I mean, so he did make all the right noises about being open for business and mentioned Northwest businesses as well that they're going to try and encourage. Once again, had a pop at the regional development agencies. They say they're going to scrap those. I don't immediately see what the alternative is. Is all the councils going to squabble for money again, or is the civil servants going to decide where regeneration money goes? So, an important speech from him as well.
And as we were hearing from Georgia earlier, there's plenty going on at the fringe meetings. Lots of fringe meetings to go to and plenty more this evening. It must be putting a bit of a squeeze on meeting rooms, though.
Absolutely. I mean, everywhere over here is full, and the town hall, of course, is being full and full of fringe meetings. And I've just been with the leader of Manchester City Council, Sir Richard Leese, who's told me that their group meeting tonight, before tomorrow's City Council meeting, they've had to move out of their own town hall. But, of course, Richard is turning a pretty penny at this conference, so I don't think he'll be too worried about that.
And the perfect example of Manchester hospitality. Jim Hancock, thanks very much. We'll see you at the same time tomorrow.